you want to do crime scene, you just want to make sure that that's something that you want to do, because you're seeing everybody on their worst day, and you just want to make sure that's what you would want to go into. So it's important for you to have some hands-on practical training. Photography is huge. And even if you take an art photography, just getting used to the terms aperture, ISO, shutter speed, just how your camera works is so important, because most of our crime scenes don't happen during the day like right now. They happen at night. So you have to be able to manipulate light and be able to get those photographs for court. And also knowing the basics, fingerprint processing, swabbing, DNA, the capabilities with that, but as much hands-on experience as you can get, because usually you will also be taking an exam when you're applying as well.
The internship with MOCSA is a little different. It is something that we do for the crisis line as well as hospital advocacy and law enforcement advocacy. So when you do the internship for a semester, it really lets you know if this is something that you really want to do. Because being on the crisis line and listening to people in crisis 24 hours a day, because we provide service 24 hours a day, can be a little difficult and a little different for people for how they handle and deal with that. Even with hospital advocacy and law enforcement advocacy, we go to the hospital and see them. We go to the police station and do the initial report, or to the headquarters and do the detective interview. Those things are very important.
One of the things that a lot of folks, I think, misunderstand about undercover work is they think it's this months-long or years-long operation where you leave home and you don't come back. That wasn't my experience. My experience was, like, I go to work, I'd wear a t-shirt and shorts, and I would go do like a 2-hour operation. We did a lot of human trafficking work, a lot of prostitution, gambling, unlawful gambling, organized crime, casinos that we would infiltrate, alcohol, anything that happened in a bar. You have to be detail oriented, because you're not sitting there flipping up a notebook and taking notes on what happened. And you have to not only, if you're following somebody, be able to take mental notes on what's happening with that investigation, what they're doing, however you're following them, or logistics. You have to have this ability to think on your feet, and ability to have, not just be able to come up with a backstory, but be able to, what we learn is that you have to have all those answers in your head already.
One of the core things I look for is loyalty. When I hire you because I think that you can bring something to my department. So I'm going to put in the effort, I'm going to put in the money, I'm going to put in the time to make you the best police officer that you can be. And I want to make sure that I kind of get that same kind of commitment back. Another thing is that you did your research. We have 3 questions on there that tell me if you did your research or not. And that's, one of them is, what do you think the law enforcement work tells in the parks? And if you just tell me that you're helping the public be safe, it means that you don't know what a police officer is. So we kind of have to weigh the balance of enforcing the law while also being a good host for the community. But I want to make sure that you guys did the research and know what kind of career field you're getting in.
Learning what it means to be truly trauma-informed is a different lens at looking at things in the career of child welfare. Being legally responsible for children that are in care and custody of the Children's Division is a serious thing. You are legally responsible for that child, you are their legal guardian, and know that if anything happens to that child, that is on you, because that is your job. Most people don't understand that. Being prepared for court, knowing your court case, and knowing what you're going there to talk about is very important. Knowing if you are a represented party by either the state or organization that you're working for is very important. Reunification and termination is a very hard decision to make. So know that that is something that you will have to be responsible for in child welfare if you're doing foster care. You have to be flexible with changes and challenges, because those things are consistent in child welfare, whether that's laws, whether that's grants, whether that's funding, whatever the case may be. Things constantly change, and you have to be up to date on whether that's child abuse policies, Children's Division policies, state policies that mandate the job that you actually do. Know those things. Having a self-care plan for yourself prior to going into the work, knowing that this is something that you are going to have to get off your chest at some point, and you have to have confidentiality. This is not something where you can tell your next door neighbor everything that's going on because you need to get it off your chest. That's not how that works. That's not what confidentiality is when it comes to taking care of clients and children. and I already mentioned this, but believing survivors is period point blank. And actually going into an internship where you want to go. That would definitely make a difference.
To make it in life, you gotta be smart, or you gotta be a hard worker. If you have one of those two things, you're gonna be just fine. If you got both of them, you can really go places. But if you got neither of them, you're gonna really struggle. So in terms of career, set your sights, kind of try to figure out what you want to do. Tailor your education towards that. When I did in classes, I would go to the courthouse in Topeka and watch trials. I watched the lawyers, and I just thought it was fascinating. It was something I always wanted to do, so I kind of tailored my law school career. The idea, what can I do to enhance my chances to become a prosecutor someday? Everybody thinks that judges have all the power in the criminal justice system. That's just not true. 90% of power is held by the prosecutors. They have the power to charge people. They have the power to give somebody a deal, give them a break, not give them a break, and everything in between. The role of the criminal defense lawyers is to make sure people get treated fairly. Everybody thinks that the role is, yeah, you get your client off at all costs. That's really not our job. Sometimes that happens. But it's mainly to see that people get treated fairly, because if you don't have somebody who knows what they're doing representing you, oftentimes people don't get treated fairly.